See, that's a relationship to thought. A goal is a thought. Like, I've talked to people who will literally go down with the ship of their goal. Like, I started, so I finished. What kind of person would I be if I made up a goal and I didn't see through it to the end? Well, it's just a thought that you're using for some purpose that you can stop using it anytime you like. See, so there's a way in which understanding that goals are just thought, that there are levels of clarity in thought, and understanding that thought is a tool that you can use however you want. You know, so someone says, oh, I got a goal, so I'm going to be busy for 3 years. Well, you can change your mind. You can totally change your mind. Well, what will people say? I don't know. Whatever they think, probably. You know? So there's a way in which goals, once thought gets elevated to something extraordinary, like beliefs, what do you call it, conditioning, goals, you can lose perspective that it's just something you're using. It's kind of a hot-cold game. We're kind of in this game of navigating thought and life, and nobody understands it well enough to do it right. And there isn't even a framework for right. And goals is one of those areas where people over-elevate the importance of thought in a way that they're then victimized by. And in my world, I can't, now that I'm thinking about it, I can't see how that isn't the only issue with goals. Maybe.
Well, it's interesting because, you know, for me, for years, it was commitment was the one that was the over meaningful thought.
Yeah.
And I, you know, a lot of you know I worked with some real commitment coaches, and I noticed during the course of the time that I was doing that my 95% commitment, as it felt to me, which was just that. It was like, well, yeah, this is what I'm doing until I'm not, was a hell of a lot more reliable than all these people who were 100% personally committed to what they were doing and then didn't show up when something was needed. And that was interesting to me because it was like, oh, maybe that isn't a thing. Maybe that's thought. And for me, it's interesting hearing you talk about that, because for a while where I went with it, when I saw kind of what Niall was saying, the difference in feeling and the difference in how it unfolded when I just kind of went with stuff and saw where it took me, as opposed to set a target and reach it, I thought, oh, goals are bad. Like, oh, I don't want to have goals because I get so up in my head when I have goals. And then I went, well, it's not the goals. It's the way I think about goals. I think that they're a thing. Mm. And once I got past that, it became useful again in certain contexts to have targets. It just helped me organize my thinking. It helped organize my action. When I have a team working on something, it makes it easier for us to all be heading in the same direction. It kind of matters less when it's just me. But as soon as I want to coordinate action in the world, it's quite useful to have a shared vision, shared target. But it's just useful. It's not a thing. It's not a vision. It's like, oh yeah, if we have a vision for where we're heading, that's kind of useful sometimes. And so that's been what's been interesting for me, is going from thinking goals great to goals bad to goals is a way of describing this. And that freedom of mind, that freedom to have targets or not have targets, to stay in a freedom of mind when somebody else gives you a target. Do you mind sharing some of the? I'll share some from mine. But you know, Aaron was telling some stories about the different way people deal with being given targets. You know, at work, and some people love it. Like, yes, now I know what I'm up to. Okay, and that's the game. You know, other people, oh God, I've got this target. I've got to, go out and I've got to do this. I hate job. I hate my stupid fuck. Right? And or is that just me? you know, but the really funny thing is when you're the one that set the target. Stupid. Right? It's like you made it up. You don't like it? Make something else up. And it was one of the first coaching sessions, big breakthroughs, one of the first really, really wealthy guys I worked with. And I wrote about it, and you can have what you want. And he said to me one day, he said, I asked him about goals, because I thought goals were like goals. And, what are your goals? And he was like, well, I mean, these are my goals, but, as I get closer, I'll see whether I still care. And I mean, this was heresy to me. He was going to change his mind part way if he didn't like it. I thought you were a man. Right? And he said, to me, the only reason I have a goal is it helps you fall more deeply in love with life. And I was like, wow.